𝐜𝐍𝐲𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜 is in the studio. How are you doing?
Fine. Well, DG, welcome to Shipping on Radio. This is the maiden edition of this program, and I said no other person other than Dr. Bashir Jamoh should lead the way, and so that is why you are here this afternoon. So we want to find out from you. There's been so much controversy surrounding this floating dock. We want to find out from you, DG. Was there no needs assessment before that floating dock was procured by Nimasa? Are we having this back and forth as to when it will be deployed, how it's going to be deployed, and all that?
Well, thank you very much, 𝐜𝐍𝐲𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜, and let me appreciate you for giving me the first CEO to anchor this program, and to state that the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency is the apex regulatory body in terms of the maritime, domain. So I don't think if you are wrong or you are giving us special treatment. That's how it ought to be.
Yes.
Yes. We have to create the enabling environment for the operations of the maritime industry. If there is no safety, there is no shipping. If there is no security, there is no shipping. If there is no infrastructure, there is no shipping. So I would like to thank you and re-emphasize that those are the part of the key mandates of the agency. And I would also like to thank you very much for bringing the issue of this modular floating dock. A lot has been said. I read a number of statements by public. Some due to lack of an informed situation, they just go to the air and say everything they like to say. I think if there is anybody that is having sleepless night on that modular floating dock, I'm one of those people. You started your question with problem. You see, I'm an advocate of solution to problems, not hinging on problems. I inherited the modular floating dock sometimes in March 2020. And as I said, I don't want to visit problems, whether there is a need assessment or there is no need assessment. The issue Nigerian would like to hear, we have one of the only 5 ships or ship repair floating dock in the whole Africa. Nigeria is having one. In terms of size, in terms of capacity, you can't get it anywhere. Only Nigeria and some other 4 African countries got that modular floating dock. And the essence of acquiring that modular floating dock is an interventionary policy. And this interventionary policy comes under the enabling triangle. We used to have 3 enabling triangle: maritime security, maritime infrastructure, and then good governance. Good governance entails of interventionary policy from time to time. When you look at our shipping industry, we lack the issue of ship repairs and ship building within the maritime domain. We have them, but you see, due to the economic situation, everything is sinking down. If you know the cost of the modular floating dock, you ask yourself how many Nigerians can afford it. Almost, I don't think if there is a single individual that can invest that much of money to acquire that modular floating dock. So no sensible person can keep the modular floating dock. Now, there are a lot of factors, but before going to the factors that affect the modular floating dock, I would like to emphasize that modular floating dock is not a vehicle or a car that you enter showroom, pay the cost of the car, collect your key, kick the car, and start to drive in the car. No.
Yeah.
It's just like for you now, you want an AC in your own house. First of all, you have to buy the AC. When you buy the AC, you have to mount the AC. When you mount the AC, you need pipes to lay pipes. You need cables to lay it to the electricity. You need the electricity to power the AC.
Even gas, you need to put some gas. Yes.
Assuming you finish all these procedures and you don't have electricity to drive the AC, will the AC work? No. Can the AC give you the cool that it requires? So that is modular floating dock for you. Even if we finish the entire process, if we don't have the required valve where we can, anchor the modular floating dock, it's going to be a big problems. Now, you ask a question that is there no need assessment? I am not in a position to speak for my predecessors, and I don't want to interdict anybody. But the original plan was the modular floating dock was to be situated somewhere, not in Lagos. And we need huge amount of investment, close to half of the modular floating dock cost, to dredge the place, to make necessary infrastructure, to make sure that you buzz that particular modular floating dock. And that cost element become almost impossible. That's number one. Number two, a certain part of the country came back and said, oh, the modular floating dock belongs to us. A lot of petitions here and there, somebody trying to claim ownership. We came out, we said, well, we use government fund, we use Nimasa fund. For you to own this modular floating dock, one, you need to require a receipt where you purchase it, or two, you either inherit it or the government has handed over and give you as a dash. Is there any letter from the government giving you? Is there any evidence that you procure this modular floating dock? Is there any evidence of inheritance, maybe from collapse of any company which is attached to this? So at the end of the day, we have to clear that. We have to clear with the Federal Ministry of Transportation to give us right to change the destination where the original modular floating dock is supposed to be, due to certain costs, due to certain business framework that we involve consultants to come and do. The consultants had to work throughout the country to see the suitable place where the business of that modular floating dock can be done, and now he has to give us report. That one took time. The second issue, to convince the ministry, it took time, because they are looking at the political angle of, saying that, okay, you can hold on to the original destination because it's not cost effective. You can go with your own proposal. The ministry has to take its time, do their own analysis, look at the implications before they can give us go ahead. That one is another problem. Now, having obtained that, then the second issue now has to do, okay, you build the modular floating dock. After building the modular floating dock, you have to install the modular floating dock. Just like after buying your AC, you have to install the AC and test the AC. Sometimes you buy the AC and the AC is not working. So the modular floating dock, by the time we face the modular floating dock and see whether the installation is ready, we get the bath probably in MPA. Is it working? How do we intend to operate it? Do we have the requisite requirement, the manpower to operate it, or how do we want? We have to think of PPP. Then if we think of PPP, we have to go through the due process. What are the due process? We have to go through the ICRC. The ICRC must evaluate the business. Is it bankable? Is it doable? Is it profitable? Then they will have to give us no objection for that. We have to go and build business case. We have to bring analysis of the cost element. The ICRC has to go through this process. It took months. Each one of these things that I'm telling you, it took us number of months.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So at the end of the day, we have to go back to the basics. Okay, now let's go for the installation. We have gotten the approval of the ICRC. We have finished the process of the ICRC. We have now sent all our documentation to the Federal Ministry of Transportation. These things belong to federal government. The federal government has ruling body, Federal Executive Council must give us approval. We are now at that bus stop. Now, on the other bus stop is the installation. Then we have to go back and call the manufacturers of this modular floating dock. They are the only people that they can be able to test run the modular floating dock and make sure the modular floating dock is working. So far, they visited this country more than 3 times.
Wow.
First of all, they will have to look and start the modular floating dock and test the modular floating dock. They came 2 times. Now we are at the 3rd times on the terms of installations. Now, as I'm talking to you now, if you go to the naval dockyard, they are working on the necessary day and night to ensure that all the installation equipment, it has to be done. There are 5 more than 2.5 meter wide. It must sink inside the sea. We don't have the machinery to do that. We have to do temporary importation. Even to import it to come to Nigeria, it takes a long period of months. So if you come here, we install it, we now dock it, we get the Federal Executive Council, Nigerians will see that working. As far as I'm concerned, if left for me, I would like to see that modular floating dock working yesterday, not today, not now. Yesterday, working yesterday. Now, I have seen people announcing cost before public say that we are paying MPAs this much amount of money. They change dancing now. The last report I saw, somebody say we are paying Nigerian Navy. Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency belongs to government. We have freedom of information bill. Our books are open. We are transparent. Anybody who said we are paying certain amount per day to Nigerian Navy, let him come and ask. We have the right. If we did not give him, we can be prosecuted under that act. So there is nothing like that. Yes, we have given Nigerian Navy safe custody of the public property is in their own domain, and there are cost elements, but this is minimal cost and is there on the record. So anybody who wants to see, he is free to come and see, but not for him to go to the media and call himself engineer and start saying things that he doesn't know. If you know less to nothing, close to nothing, please, you better keep quiet, but don't come and start insinuating some things that are not like that. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. Let's go to the next question. I'm sure that all the doubting Thomases about the viability or otherwise of the floating dock would have been laid to rest. I'm sure that they won't talk anymore.
But we need to go on a break right now. When we come back, we still have the DG of Nimasa in the studio and 𝐜𝐨𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐜 as well. The conversation continues.
My DG, ship owners are crying.
Why?
They have been crying for 13, if not more years. The Cabotage Vessel Financing Fund. Do you see that possibility of dispersing that fund before the end of this administration?
As you say, they are crying for 13 years. Are you sure that their tears will not finish in the period of 13 years? Whether it's finished or not. But we are determined to do that. You know, when I came on board, it's one of my major area of concern. And where we are now, we have already shortlisted the 9 interested banks to participate in the disbursement of the fund. If you can recollect, last year we advertised for expressions of interest as provided by the guidelines of the Cabotage Vessel Financing Fund. And after the advert, I think 12 banks, they have indicated their interest. We shortlisted 9. As the law provides, we forwarded it to the Honorable Minister of Transportation for him to consider 4 primary lending institutions as part of those people to dispose the banks to dispose the fund. And that document is now under consideration in the Federal Ministry of Transportation. The delay we are having now, the experience we had with the Ship Acquisition and Shipbuilding Fund, where Nigerian collected money and refused to pay, as I'm talking to you, since 1996. And every minister is scared and afraid to be part and parcel of that failure. Let him not dispose this money as loan and let not be a failure.
Some people are seeing it as a national cake.
Yes. So what every minister want to do before disbursing it, let me make sure that it would not turn out to be a national cake, just like what we did in ship acquisition and shipbuilding fund. And they started bringing a different group, different stakeholders. They started bringing their own ideas and suggestions on what to do to curb that. Part of the ideas was that we should use the money as a seed fund. We can approach Bank of Industry or African Development Bank or any other international bank that can use the funds we generate so far, and then get additional funding from that bank, so that we can get as many as possible, because the amount of money, how many vessels will buy.
Yeah.
Now, and another school of thought felt that, why can't we get an assembly plant of these vessels, so that we go and conduct research within our coastal waters, what type of vessels we need. Is it oil servicing boats? Is it ferry boats? Is it small crafts? Is it fishing trawlers and other things? We conduct research, we come out with the specific vessels that is much needed, not only within the coastal waters, also inland, our inland waterways. We are not utilized, making maximum use of our inland waterways. We also need to escalate those ships that we can use it in our own inland waterways. The issue of these small crafts, that the boats that are having constant accident in our own inland waterways, we can have a standard ferries that we can use it in inland waterways to carve out this kind of substandard boats that they are using in the inland waterways, so that we can save our own lives. So when we brought that, where we are now, the Honorable Minister of Transportation has graciously agreed that some official of the Federal Ministry of Transportation, they will travel to Kenya this month.
Why Kenya?
Because the biggest shipbuilding industry demand, they are building a kind of shipyard that will address this kind of issues that we are doing.
I see.
So they want us to go and see that kind of shipyard that they are building for Kenyan government. If we see it and we analyze what they are doing, and it's in consonant and in line with our thinking and thought, and is what is going to help us, then we will now come and reflect the same thing after getting approval from the federal government. Now, this is what we are going to do.
But DG, if you are embarking on that kind of trip, are you going to take in some ship owners to go with
you? Definitely yes. Every stakeholder
and journalists as well.
No, you want to go to Kenya. I think you want to go
I want to go to Kenya. Ireland is a beautiful place.
Well, there is safari in Kenya.
Yes.
And we have Yankari Game Reserve. If we didn't go with you, we'll pay you to go to Yankari Game Reserve.
So can we take some calls?
What we are going to do in that, the most interesting thing with that procedure now, the shipyard will be in Nigeria. Nigerians will operate it. They will come with the technology.
Okay.
We will get the local content in Nigeria.
Okay.
We will give them our own requirement. They will build and assemble the requirement. After building and assembling the requirements, after shortlisting those interested stakeholders that are eligible for the ship acquisition, for the CBFF, they will go to the men and say, okay, this is the quality of or the type of ships we want. The men will now give them invoice. They will now forward the invoice to the management, and the management will now ask the disbursement direct to the shipyard. And at the end of the day, the funds are saved. We cannot give somebody fund and he will go and use it to do other business, or he will use the fund to go and marry more wives. Or he will go and use the funds to put it in fixed deposit and come back to tell us. Remember that people.
DG, you know, there's a law, and this, as beautiful as this plan is, you need the buy-in of the ship owners.
That's why I told you the stakeholders that are inside.
Okay.
But the same stakeholders that are around me, some of them, they will come and tell us that the ship sank under the Bermuda Triangle. And we cannot go under the Bermuda Triangle to confirm whether the loan given to them is sank or otherwise. So, but what I'm telling you now is just a proposal.
Okay.
The stakeholders will be carried along,
Okay.
and they will be able to see what we are doing. Everything is going to be transparent. What I'm just trying to confirm to you, we are not sleeping. And the issue of the disbursement of CBFF is a reality, and we are going to disburse those funds.
Okay. And connected to this is this issue of seafarers. Nimasa over the years has been doing a great job, you know, training seafarers. And recently there were some rumblings among some students about the allowances that were approved for them and all that. What action has Nimasa taken to address this?
Yeah, this is another interesting question aspects. You know, when you have a staff and you send him to go and train for a training in any country, you know there are rules guiding the principle of his employment. And you know, the rules of engagement entails step by step of his action. But those people that won the CPRS development programs scholarship, they are on their own. They were just shortlisted after certain criteria and taken. So they are not used to certain guidelines, rules, and regulations. They do what they want.
Okay.
What we discover that when you send them abroad, they will go on their own and decide either to change their courses, increase their courses, do a lot of things that will increase the cost
of the program
okay. Outside our own budgetary provisions.
Okay.
So that's what we observe, the recent rumblings that we are seeing. And what we did, we offered to give them additional money, despite the fact that some of them, they have taken courses which wasn't approved by the agency.
Okay.
And then secondly, we requested for the approval of the Federal Minister of Transportation for some of our officials to visit Philippines and see the students, see the school authority, discuss these issues, and analyze what happened, and then we come and forward. You know, we have supervisor ministry. We forward the situations to the supervisor ministry. Once it's approved, then we will now conclude. I think I didn't hear any noise anymore. But in order to make to lay everything to rest, we will have to go to the Philippines and visit them. If you have a child now is in UK, you can't just sit down here hearing him crying. So you have to go and see him. So our officials, before the end of this month, they will arrive in Philippines. They will see the practical problems and angles that they are coming from, and see how we can
very thoughtful of you. Now,
send it.
It's like in the Gulf of Guinea, there's some relative calm in the Gulf of Guinea. What is the magic?
Well, that's very, very interesting. You know, I used to hear so many people praising Nimasa. It's a combined efforts. Nigerian Navy, you know, by the Armed Forces Act, they have the responsibility to ensure the operational aspect of our own maintaining maritime security. So, combined effort by Nigerian Police, Nigerian Army, Nigerian Air Force, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, international community, and a host of others. So when we came in, we opened up our doors. First of all, we tried to see the operationality of collaboration, cooperation, coordination, and communication in terms of information sharing. And we commenced what we call Nigeria Joint Industry Working Group. The international maritime users, the intertanko, the major owners of tanks in the world, they are part of us. The intercargo, the major companies that control cargo worldwide, the BIMCO, all this one, we now bring them together, including our own local stakeholders. We used to have meeting on monthly basis, analyzing the progress of what is happening. You will recall that in December 2020, we used to experience 1 attack per day. By the end of December 2021, we hit a record of 30 years. Since 1994, we have never seen the drop in piracy in the Gulf of Guinea. Today, from January to March, we are yet to see one single attack in 8 months.
Thank you very much.
So we thanked everybody, including Nigerians and the international community, Nigerian Navy, and so many other things.
Congratulations, my DG. Congratulations. Well, listeners, you have been listening to Dr. Bashir Jamoh, the Pedipere of Bayelsa State, and the DG of Nimasa. He's been talking with us and explaining to us some of the burning issues in the maritime industry. I'm sure we're going to invite you here next time, and our next visit will be when you started disbursing the CBFF fund, and I'm sure that is going to be shortly before the expiration of your tenure. Of the current administration.
I hope you are not an interested party.
I'm interested. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming around.
Did you enjoy this video? Hit the subscribe button for more. Leave a comment and like. Thank you.